So let's start discussing the architecture of 8259 chip. Now, as you can see, this is the architecture of 8259. First, let's discuss about this. The basic procedure is uh, any hardware which attach with your 8259 chip will request the interrupt over here. Interrupt comes to this part, and using this INTA pin which is connected with INTA pin of 8086, your microprocessor will get to know that interrupt is occurred, right? It will send you the acknowledgement. Now based on this acknowledgement, after calculating the interrupt service routine address, the data bus is used and the data will be sent to your microprocessor. So you can assume that here also you are having microprocessor, this is also microprocessor, and this is your 8259 chip which is attached. Here you are having the hardware devices. Fine. So this is how it works. Now why this is two directional bus, data bus? Because we need to send the commands also. Why we need to send the commands? We need to send the commands for initialization of your different registers. So that's why this is bidirectional. Data bus is given, and here your data will be stored temporarily as a buffer, right? Now whenever you are having a two directional data bus, you need to read something, you need to write something. So this is the command comes from microprocessor. So this is read write logic. These two A0 and chip select signals we right now ignore it because it is not needed. And if you want to do cascading, this is the advanced block that is used, right, for cascading purpose. So this will discuss later on when cascading is needed. So now this part is the full left part is I think covered. Data bus, read write signals, and other parts we are not needed right now, right? This is cascading buffer which is used for cascading purpose. Now let's come to the right hand side part. As you can see, right hand side part, you are having three register. This is first register, this is second register, this is third register. This is connected with directly interrupt service, like interrupt request. This is your priority resolver. PR is priority resolver. These three are register. The name of these three registers are IIR, interrupt request register, interrupt mask register, and in service register. Okay, what each registers do? Interrupt request register is an 8-bit register which contain IR0 to IR7, 8 interrupts. Initially all are 0 by default. What it indicate? It indicate that interrupt is occurred or not. Then it comes with interrupt mask register. So here it is again 8-bit register, IR0 to IR7. If it is 0, that means no interrupt is masked. If something is 1, we can say that that particular interrupt is masked, right? So this is what is the work of IMR. Same way, next is in service register. It is again 8-bit register, IR0 to IR7. So suppose if I say currently this is 1, so it is IR1. So I can say that interrupt 1 is in service. The interrupt service routine is currently executed for interrupt 1, and if it is 0, then it says that this particular interrupt is not in service. So whatever interrupt is in service whose ISR we are running, we can say that that pin will become, that particular bit will become 1 in service register. So that is in service register. So it will show us that which one is currently running. IMR is saying that which one is masked, right? So these three are the registers, and using these three registers, our priority resolver, this is PR is priority resolver, right? It will tell us that which interrupt we need to send next to our microprocessor. Now why we need these three register? So let's discuss that also. Now the first question is why interrupt request register IRR is needed actually. If I give this particular request directly to priority resolver, then also it will work. Why I need to give it here and I need to save it in register? Because suppose two interrupts are occurred simultaneously like this, interrupt 1 and interrupt 0. Now in this case 0 is having higher priority, so both will become 1, and because of the higher priority this will go in service, right? Now what about IR1? Because if I give directly this thing to PR, right, when this IR0 is running, suppose it required 10 seconds, right? Assume it is a 10 seconds, and after 5 seconds this pin becomes 0. So now this will become inactive. So my 8259 chip will never get to know that IR1 was occurred. This is the problem. But because of this register, when this pin is becomes 0 after 5 seconds, still my this register shows the 1. What that mean? This was occurred and it was pending. So I need to handle this also once the 10 seconds of IR0 will get over. Yeah, get it? So because of this, though my pin of this particular hardware becomes 0, still I need to know that my IR1 was occurred and I need to serve it. So that is the advantage, right? So this is the reason why we are having this register and we don't connect this thing directly to priority resolver. I hope this is quite clear. The here on pin you are giving pulse can give 0 also after some time, and your processor will never get to know that particular interrupt get occurred. So that's why you need something where you can store it. So that's why this register is needed. Get it? Okay. Now why we need these 3 registers, right? How your 8259 works in that case, right? So let's discuss it. So like first thing that you need to keep in mind is IR0 is having higher priority, IR7 is having lowest priority. Now assume that initially IR4 is in ISR, in service register. What that mean? Currently my microprocessor is running interrupt service routine of interrupt 4. Yeah, if IR3 is an IMR is what? Interrupt mask register. That means interrupt 3 is masked, right? So I don't need to serve it. Now suppose on a single time IR3 and IR5 occurred. What that means? Interrupt 3 and interrupt 5 pin get occurred simultaneously. So my interrupt request register will contain 1 at IR3 and 1 at IR5. So now what my 8259 chip will do in this case? So step 1, out of both these things, IR3 and IR5, which one will get selected? Because IR3 is having higher priority, it will get selected, and IR5 will go into pending list, right? Once the IR3 will get selected, it will check IMR, interrupt mask register. Now as it is masked, we have already seen here that it is masked, so will 8259 chip will discard it because I don't need to serve it. So now it will go on pending list and select the IR5. So IR5 will get selected now. Now it will check IMR. Is it masked? No. So this test is also passed. Now it will check in service register. In service register currently IR3 is running. Now IR4 is running, right? So currently IR4 is having higher priority than IR5. So I don't stop this processing and I need to send this thing into pending list. So as IR4 is having higher priority, IR5 will go to my pending list. What do you mean by pending list? It is discarded? No. It is given to MUPI? No. It will remain into pending list. Once my IR4 gets over, my IR5 will be served my microprocessor, right? Suppose same scenario, but instead of IR5 you are having IR2 occurred with IR3. So what happens? In this case my current IR4 is running, right? IR2 is occurred. Now it will check IR2 is having higher priority. Yes. Is it masked? No. Which one is running? IR4. Which one is having higher priority? IR2. So it will stop IR4 and it will give IR2 to the microprocessor and IR4 will go to pending list. This is how my microprocessor handles the interrupt using 8259. I hope this much thing is clear. More on this we'll discuss in the next session. Thank you.